What is going on, my dudes and dudettes and my friends and my buddies? ZXRyuu. We're going to continue our Let's Play of Spyro the Dragon, but before we do that, I want to just kind of mention something here at the start. The load game screen is different. Unfortunately, I was recording the Dreamweaver's World, and OBS decided to kind of quit working on me when I went to finalize the recording. So I'm starting it over. I've done it, but we're still going to just go through and play it again. But that's why the load screen looks different. I'm going to have a different number of lives and maybe a slightly different amount of treasure right at the start. So it's just kind of unfortunate that that's what happens with technology. Sometimes it just gives up on you or freaks out or whatever. So, but anyway, we're gonna pick up where we left off in the last part. I restored a save that I had just sitting around from a little while ago. So, so we're gonna pick up in the Dreamweaver's World and go through and finish it up. So. So these enemies here, you can flame them, but you can't like charge them or anything. If you get too close to them, they'll slap you. So the thing you have to do is you have to get up to this guy that's using this laser beam, and you have to use the laser beam to shrink them down. So anyway, you have to do that a little bit later on. So anyway, Jacques is the boss stage. The requirement for the balloonist in this world is we need to collect a lot of treasure. But at this point in the game, since we have 8,000 treasure, we already have the requirement necessary to go on to the final world. But since this is a 100% run, we're going to go through and pick up everything. So. But I guess the good thing about doing this over again is there was a couple of stages that I did not do very well in. Just it was really kind of sloppy. So hopefully the second time around this will be better. So I hope you all are having a fantastic day today, and that things are rolling well for you. I'm going to take a slight detour over here because I'm going to...
Hello, Spyro. Nicely done. I'll be done when I've toasted that nasty Nork.
I'm going to take a... Actually, I should have done this a little bit differently. Okay, let's go back. This is easy enough to go back. I was thinking I could do a shortcut here for something, but I'm like, nah, I'll just do that here in a minute. So I'm going to try not to, rush, because since I've already done the Dreamweaver's World once, it's almost like, oh man, I got to do it again, kind of thing. But I'm going to try not to, oops, I turned the laser too far. I'm going to try not to rush through this. I'm going to do it like I would any other video, so. Okay, and I just jump away. To use the laser, you get... Wow, Spyro's like freaking out there. What the heck? I've never seen that. So to use the laser or the cannons or whatever, you just get close enough to them, and then it'll kind of lock you into a position, and then you can start turning it, and you just use the flame button to shoot. Okay, so we're going to go this way next. So when those guys are... the non-armored guys, when they're little, these little like gremlin things, or fairies, I don't know what they are. You can charge them and they won't hurt you or anything. So this treasure over here, this 10, is usually what I will miss when I come through here. So I just try and be careful to make sure I grab that treasure specifically. Amazing.
The fools you see in this world are invincible, but that does not mean they shouldn't be attacked.
Sounds all right to me.
So anyway, these little jester guys, or they call them fools, I guess. But anyway, they're trapped, I guess, or they have a timer when you hit them, and they usually have some special effect on the stage somewhere, and so so they break you in kind of early and easy with this one. It's like, okay, well, just hit this fool and we'll lower this platform for you. There's another one a little bit later on in the stage as well that, you know, kind of continues to show you what you can and can't do with the fools. So, and then these whirlwinds warp us back to the beginning, so then we can go up the staircase that was previously blocked by these giant enemies. So now that they're small, we can get around them. So, and it took me a little while to figure out that I needed to use the laser, and I'm not really sure why, because in the Peacemaker's world, you use the laser, you use the cannon to shoot out different sections. So, I don't know, kind of weird. So the way you're supposed to do this platform is you're supposed to freeze one of them, and then just like walk up the steps. But there's a way where you can kind of cheat it, and you freeze one, and then you freeze the other kind of close to this platform, and you can just jump right on it. So it saves a little bit of time if you know the setup. Let's back up, because that's probably going to hit us. Okay, there we go. So 3 dragons, 300 treasure, and so since we're up here, we're going to go ahead and go through the Icy Flight level. Because you know, you just have to wrap back around to it, and so since it's right here and we're right at the end, I'm just gonna go ahead and take care of it. So this one's pretty challenging, actually. There's a bunch of lanterns you have to light and chests that you have to destroy. So so this one can be pretty challenging. So I kind of loop through here. And get everything here. Okay. And then we can go over here to the tunnel. And there's some trains and some guys that are hovering with, you know, propellers or whatever. So we just go through here, destroying things as we go along. Oops. And then we hit these guys. So by the time you get those 3, the train will come back around. And so you can destroy that. And then you can grab these propeller guys on the way through. Ah! Glad I wasn't short on time. That would have been bad. So anyway, that's one way you can do it. There's a couple of ways through the stage, but that's just kind of one way that I find is pretty consistent, I guess. So so it works for me. So yeah, so that stage is pretty straightforward if you kind of have a good route and a good way of going through it. So, but you know, it takes a little while to figure out what's a good route for that because it's so confusing. Okay, so since we're going this way, we'll go ahead and take out the boss level because it's right here. So, you know, this stage I kind of do, or this world I do a little bit backwards because it just makes more sense where the treasure is and where you end up kind of looping through to get to places. So we're just going to do the boss level first. Okay, so we've got these like Romeo and Juliet type enemies, I guess. I don't know. They're just weird. They're just very weird monsters. So one looks like it's wearing a dress and it's carrying a flower, and the other one's armored, you know, kind of like a knight or whatever, but it's got claws on it. So anyway, so we're gonna go over here and just grab a few things because this isn't really the way that we need to go first. This is gonna take us right to the boss. But if we grab the treasure down here and then we go back, We need to flame this fool because he sets off he or she, I'm not really sure. Sets off a special platform over here, and I'm gonna miss the timing. Yep. Got hung up on trying to get treasure. Okay, so anyway, freeze them. If I could. Okay, so that gives us to this platform. There's a lot of tricky jumps back in here, so we just got to be careful.
Thank you for releasing me.
You are welcome. Okay. Alright. Okay, so there's this little area back here that we can do, and it's a bunch of enemies on pedestals, and it's pretty tricky to hit all of them the first time through, let alone at all. I did that really, really bad. So, and I think this is supposed to be lava, but when you landed it, it makes like water splashing sounds. So, I mean, you know, there was only so much room and stuff you could do with the original PlayStation that, I almost got him. So there's only so much room, you know, with the original PlayStation memory and disk space and everything that... Huh, I'm not sure how that one hit me. Okay, well, let's do it this way. I think you can hit it this way. I guess not. Alright. Okay, well, let's just try not to get hit again. Or... Okay, this is really bad. This is dumb. Come on. Let's follow the path around. Why can't I hit this enemy? Okay, let's... No. Gosh. I had it, and then... for whatever reason, start gliding again. Come on. This is really not that difficult. There. Gosh. Sheesh. Okay, so if we hit this fool... Or actually, let's go back and get this treasure first. Anyway, so if we hit this fool, it extends out this wall over here. And you don't have a lot of time, so you got to get yourself positioned right on the corner and go pretty quickly, or else it'll go back into the wall and you'll be dead. There's no way to recover after that because it's just death down there. There's no way to get back out. So that platform you need to get right to the very edge and jump, and you'll just make it. So a lot of these jumps back here are really tight, just like everything else in this game is really tight. Okay, and then we take this platform, and we fly right through this whirlwind. For whatever reason, it won't pick us up when we go right through it, but that's the way you get back to the platform. Okay, so this is a pretty tricky jump. So you have to get right here on this corner, and you're shooting for that corner over there. So, and if you do it right, you can just make it. I always face away from the chasm when I charge these guys, because I don't want to fall off into death, but, you know, at least... taking damage isn't the Dreamweavers is also pretty generous with how many sparks points they give you. So you can trap both of these guys back here in the back corner. They'll run together, and then you can just grab them both in the back. So it's interesting how generous they are with the sparks points because. You do take a lot of damage in this world, but I just figured they would just as soon take a bunch of things away from you. So those guys, that's what you normally have to do is just chase them around, but they'll meet up in certain places and you can just grab them both at the same time, but it's kind of tough to get them like that every time. Again, facing away from the chasms before you charge these guys. Oops, that's the jump. Okay, and since we got the key, we can unlock this. Okay, and then we can go back a little ways. That was all very weird. They weren't hitting me. I weren't. I weren't hitting them. Oh my gosh, English. They weren't hitting me. I wasn't hitting them. So anyway, then you only have to go back to this one little section here to get treasure, and then you can just flame the fool and proceed on. That's the old mushroom guy. Okay. I missed some of this treasure when I was coming through here the first time just because I like blitzed down the stairs and didn't think to check each individual stair.
Any advice before this battle?
Advice. A wise dragon once told me, aim high in life, but watch out for flying boxes.
Huh?
I thought that dragon was so funny when I was playing through here. I'm like, what does that even mean? Aim high in life and watch out for flying boxes? And so when Spyro's like, huh? I was like, yeah, that's me too. What does this even mean? So, so this guy will throw boxes at you. But if you get to him quickly, he won't. So, except for right here, he will throw a box at you, and if you don't, even if you do hit him, it'll still hit you. For whatever reason, that hitbox and that hurt box right there, when he throws that at you, will almost always hit you. And there's like no good way to get around it, I found. Okay, so 2 dragons, 500 treasure. So that's the boss level, so let's get out of here and go back to the home world. Okay, so we'll go to the next level. If you're doing it this way, you gotta watch out because that first one will hit you. Okay, so let's go to Dark Passage since it's right here. So this is kind of like one of the first levels, I guess. I think Lofty Castle is technically the first level, but it's just put off in the middle of this world, so I don't know. Okay, so this track, I really like this track. This is probably one of my favorite tracks in the whole game. It's really gritty, and I don't know, I like how it sounds. Unfortunately, this is like one of my least favorite stages, though. These enemies with these dogs and these turtles are just horrible. Uh-oh, I don't have sparks now. I should have filled up before we left. That was not smart. Okay, anyway. So when it's darkness, the enemies are gigantic, but when it's light, they're a smaller size and more manageable. Talk about that more here in a minute.
The enemies here can be quite frightening, but you should watch the fools.
I'd rather flame the fools.
Now you're thinking.
So unless you haven't figured that out from the previous section, the dragon pretty much just tells you, hey, this is what you need to do. Okay, you can refill sparks right here. And it's kind of weird. If you give Sparks a lot of butterflies all back to back, he'll be glowing, but he'll still be green. It's kind of weird. Okay, so anyway. So these dogs, they have this hitbox and hurtbox thing that if they get close enough to you, you can't, if you're trapped in that hurtbox, you can't flame them, you can't charge, you can't do anything. It takes all of your action away from you. So, and you can get trapped in it really easily. These turtle enemies are horrible because they can't be killed until you're pretty much right on top of them. But at that point, they'll shoot out a little fireball that most of the time will hit you.
Thank you for releasing me.
And will definitely hurt you. Even if you're jumping over them, even if you're trying to get around them, it doesn't matter. They're probably going to hit you. And they are horrible. because there's a lot of them in this stage, and they're kind of glitchy. At least I think they're glitchy. You can sometimes bait them into shooting you from a long way away, and if you can, that's great. But most of the time, you're going to be right on top of them and have to maneuver. Let's see here. Okay, so these little, like, devil Cupid things, I don't know what they are. They'll shoot arrows at you, but you can fake them out pretty easily. You just have to jump when they're about to shoot, and they'll go right over you, around you, or whatever, so.
You know, I think you just might be the dragon to defeat Nasty Nork.
That's me, all right.
Okay, so what we're going to do before we continue on is we're going to go back to this little section over here with all these mushrooms because they've respawned, and we're going to get sparks back. Just because the amount of damage you take in this stage is just unreal because of the enemies being cheap. Oh yeah, you can also charge the fools too, I forgot to mention. Oh, huh. I don't know how I missed that treasure, but whatever. Good thing I went back then. Okay. So yeah, I really like the electric guitar and the bass line in this track, and also the drums a little bit later. I don't know, I just think it's a really cool song. Okay, so this passageway down here, it took me a while to figure out where this even was. And the trick that I use to get down here is I'll jump, and then as soon as Spyro starts like doing his free fall animation, that's when I'll start gliding. If you glide too early, you'll just bounce into the wall and bounce off, and it's really hard to recover after that point. Those turtle enemies you can hurt if you're really, really far away from them charging. You, for whatever reason, have enough time that you can get to them before they shoot you. So that's kind of the optimal way to do it. Sometimes I'll like jump and come down on them, and I might avoid getting hit by the fireball, but it's just so inconsistent. So same thing here. Once Spyro starts getting into his free fall animation, just hit the glide button with X again, and he'll be all right. Okay, these guys we have to run past so that we can get to the fool, because that fool won't blow his torch out, or light the torch until you hit him. So. And see, you can get hit by the dogs even when they're, even when you're jumping. I mean, these enemies are just horrible. The only thing that's easy to avoid is the devil, Cupid things. But in close quarters, those turtles are awful. So, but yeah, if the dogs pretty much declare you to be hurt, you can't do anything to get out of it or anything. Even if you're, jumping, trying to get around them, flaming, whatever, it doesn't matter. They'll still hurt you. And that's what's annoying about them. That's what just makes this stage awful. I don't like this stage. I love the music, but I don't like this stage because the enemies are horrible.
Thanks, Spyro. I'd love to help you catch Nasty, but I'd really hate being trapped in Crystal again.
Don't worry. The only one who's gonna be trapped is him.
Okay. Okay, these guys, you can sometimes charge both of them and you won't get hurt, but usually you will. There's just not much you can do about it, unfortunately. So I was kind of actually trapped in a hitbox there for a second, but I was able to like maneuver around it a little bit so that it didn't hit me.
Thank you for releasing me.
See, and as we get farther into the game, more and more dragons just say thank you for releasing me rather than give you advice on something. So there's only a few of them that give you advice anymore. So and if you don't explore that cavern down here, there's a lot of, yeah, see, weird hitbox, double hit. So many weird things can happen. Okay. All right. Let's go over to this treasure chest and look the last little bit here. But yeah, this stage, I had to come back here quite a bit because I could never figure out where the last part of the treasure was for the longest time. I was like, I've looked around at like basically everything and can't see it. So yeah, I just had to start searching around, and lo and behold, there was that cavern down there, and I think I've missed something down there as well. So let's see here. Probably went too fast trying to get around some enemies and missed something simple. Yep, here it is. Okay. All right, so 500, 5 dragons. Let's get out of here. So yeah, I like the music to that stage, but it's just horrible. The hitboxes on all those enemies are just horrible. Uh-oh. Let's not get slapped. Okay, alright, so the next one let's go to is Lofty Castle, which is over here. But let's refill sparks a little bit. Lofty Castle isn't that difficult of a level, but it's just really spread out. So yeah, we have to look around quite a bit to find everything. So, and I guess the old, those guys, you have to pop their balloon. But I guess the old adage, when pigs fly, I mean, I don't know if those are pigs or turkeys, chickens, baby dragons. I don't know what those are supposed to be, but anyway. Yeah, I guess the old adage, when pigs fly, is really true, because there are some that are flying here, or whatever those are. Okay, just make sure not something over there. And those cages that the fairies are in, the Cupids trapped the fairies, so we have to save the fairies. That firework container will hit you if you're standing up there, so need to avoid that. But you can charge those as well. That guy as we go by. And so once we free these 3 fairies, they activate a whirlwind. And that's pretty much the goal of the stage, is to release all of the fairies so that we can continue on.
Fairies are always on your side, Spyro.
And that dragon's name is Mudada, and I believe in Japanese that's a word that means useless, or like pointless, or something like that. But don't quote me on that. I'm not really fluent in Japanese. I know some, but I'm not remembering at the moment if that's really what that means. So don't quote me on that. But anyway. Okay. And so this red slot machine here, the one that only has one in it, there's only one of those. That's the only one that exists in the game. So, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so there's a treasure box over here that requires a key, and we won't get the key until quite a bit later, so we're going to have to backtrack over here. Okay, so we're going to go straight over here. So, and these guys will only attack you if you're really close to the edge. They'll swing their shield at you when they're up. So, they're pretty easy to avoid them.
Thank you for releasing me.
You are welcome, bud. So there's the first fairy. So we take this whirlwind, we go over here, free that fairy. So wait for this guy to go down, flame him. And then we take the other whirlwind over here. Get up here for this treasure. And then we take this long glide over here. This isn't a tricky jump. So you can either set both of those off, or you can use it to hit that soldier. I don't know if that works exactly that way though. I don't know if you can hit that soldier for sure with that, but I think you can. I seem to remember doing it in one of my run-throughs. So you can use that propeller to break open that container. Doesn't really do much, but because the enemies are just too far away to hit otherwise. Okay, so let me go over here. Same thing. Create a fairy, and then we get rid of these. Whatever these are. They're squawking like they're birds, you know, of some kind, but they look like little, like they're the shape of pigs, but they have wings like dragons, so I don't know what they are. They're a thing, is what they are. They are a thing. But yeah, you have to be really close to those soldier guys before they'll even attempt to swing at you, so. Then we just fly right over here and get into this whirlwind. Okay, so that's only like the first part of the stage, so we need to backtrack a little ways. Fly back over here. Then we still don't have the key, so we go across here, and instead of going straight to the right, we go over to the left. These guys. Over there. Go up here. Got extra life. Okay, there's a whirlwind here, but I always go on the ground first. And that fairy box is very forgiving. You can pretty much just, you know, jump and flame it. Even though you're not really that close to it, it still works. So that's cool that happens there. Okay, so then we take this up here. Grab a couple treasure. And we need to flame the enemies and the fairy boxes on the way by. So nice. First try, hey. Then we can just land right here and go up. Don't have to go take the whirlwind and go up and around again. You just do it as many times as you need to get everything. All right, so there's the key and the dragon. Send me.
Ah, Spyro, thanks. Supercharge will get you to new places here in Lofty Castle, too. See where it takes you.
when I was first playing this game, that dragon kind of confused me because he said Lofty Castle 2. Like, I thought he meant the number 2. Like there was a second Lofty Castle or something. But what he was really meaning is he's just rhyming with the word 2, meaning also. So, so yeah, that confused me for a little while. So we have another supercharged panel here, but this one's really, really straightforward. You just jump, and then you go around the loop, and then you land over here. It's tight, though, so the higher you can jump, first off, the better you'll be. Like when you first come off of that ramp over there, the higher you can jump, the better you'll be, because it still can trap you a little bit where you can't make the jump or whatever. Okay, so we come down here, get the treasure chest. Conveniently sticks us over there. And that does it for this stage, I believe. So 400 treasure, 3 dragons. We can exit the level. Okay, so the last level that we have, we've only got one more level here in this world, but we've got 10,000 treasure now, so now let's see if I can get over to where this is. Okay. Without forgetting, because I'm like, where is this again? I'm just going to get this extra sphere to get an extra life here. Not that we really need them. In the last save file, we had like 36 extra lives, so so it's completely unnecessary. But okay, so this last level, Haunted Towers. This is the stage out of all of the game that took me the longest to find all of the treasure. So, it's got really cool music, I think. It's like really atmospheric, you know, aromatic or whatever, and it's got a cool drum pattern to it. It's pretty tough, though. We have these soldiers that you can't flame and you can't charge. And they'll, like, some of them will just, like, block your path to where you can't get, you know, you can't get around them or whatever. But some will attack you, so you just need to be careful not to get close to them. They use their helmet to attack you too, which I think is kind of funny. So instead we have a fairy. So we know what that means. We gotta run. So, and don't forget about this one here at the start, because he's really easy to overlook. That was some of the treasure that I missed. You know, until I really started looking around, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this guy was even back here. So, and there's a lot of treasure back here past this wall that we broke as well, so. Uh-oh. Okay, I hit 3 things and got none of the treasure. Okay, so we're gonna get the fairy again. Here. So we're gonna flame. Okay, didn't quite make it, but that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna flame all of the soldiers with that fairy, because there's another one, but you're really, really tight getting back here to flame all of them, so I just find it easier to use the fairy in the first section and then just use the whirlwind.
Hey, Spyro, all dragons know there's magic in a fairy's kiss. See what it can do to your power of flame.
So yeah, he's just saying if you haven't found a fairy yet, or, well, I mean, you kind of have to at this point in order to get here. So I don't know. It's just interesting that they put that dragon's message there rather than being, you know, a little bit closer in, so that it would actually make sense with what you're doing. Yeah, and there's a fireworks thing back here too, so don't forget about that one. Okay, so then we can use this fairy to clear out these guys here. You can use the fairy's flame to break that container as well. Oh, whew, that was close. Okay. You're really supposed to use a supercharge, I think, to break that, but it's super risky. You could fly right off the side if you do that. So instead, I just use the fairy's flame power up to get that. Okay, so use the whirlwind to come up here. And yeah, so I mentioned supercharge. It's right here. So let's go through. Oh my gosh. That guy scares me every single time because I forget he's there. Because everybody saw that jump scare. So anyway, we can use the fairy's flame to get rid of him. Break this open. This open. This open. Get this guy. Clear this all out. Okay, grab the dragon.
Hold your horns. Here comes Spyro.
Patience, little one. You'll soon have the opportunity to battle the one who matters most, Nasty Nork.
Yep, Nasty Norks are coming. All right, let's see here. Let's get the fairy again. So we can pick up this treasure here, and then we can come back through here. Again, you can use the supercharge to break that open, but I find it a lot easier to just use the flame power up. Okay, I'm walking around because there's a sound I want you to hear. No, not yet. Okay, anyway, I don't know that you're going to be able to hear it because the music is up, but anyway, there's another dragon that's making noise nearby, and for the longest time I couldn't figure out where he was. But then I looked up and I saw there's a hole here, but I'm like, I can't do anything with the hole. So I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? This there's a supercharge here. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And so after a little while of kind of looking around and everything, I was like, oh, this looks kind of like a ramp. So I'm like, oh, there's a platform over there. So I'm like, okay, I've got to somehow be coming from that direction in order to make it up the ramp. And so I'm like, oh, well, there's those guys over there jumping around. The charge panel is here. So if I take the second door to the right, which dumps out here, if I jump, keep going, jump up the ramp, I can make it. So I finally made it over here, and I'm like, is this new? Is this the section I was looking for? And I'm like, yeah, there's a box I've never seen. There's the dragon I was hearing. I'm like, this has got to be it.
You've become a master of the supercharge. Great work.
So it was really exciting to finally hear that. I was like, yeah, I'm a master of the supercharge. You betcha after that. So anyway, that puts us in a room that we need to clear out. And it's got a lot of soldiers. I mean, a lot of soldiers. Yeah, so you can see them all up there. And it doesn't look like they're active, but there's a wizard up at the very top of the staircase that's going to start bringing these guys to life, start animating them. And so we need to get up here and get around that guy at the end and kill the wizard. Because if we don't, he'll block us off and we can't get past him. Okay, so now we have a gold fairy who kisses us twice as long. And that gives us the flame power-up is now permanent throughout this stage. Unfortunately, it's not permanent throughout the rest of the game, just the stage. So if you had to fight your way up here and it was really difficult, you can take your time and just go down here and get rid of all these guys. And, then don't forget, before you leave, you need to come back out here and get this treasure chest. Because there is a lot of treasure in there. Okay, so then we can go down this hole, and this is the hole we were looking at. So we're back into this room. So we can go to this first door here. Still have the flame power up. So we can get past that guy really easily. Oops. I don't know why, but sometimes they won't let you flame both enemies, and I'm not really sure why. So if you manage to get back into this area without having the power-up flame, there's another fairy here that will that'll help you out. All right, and if we've done it right, this should be the last treasure. Yep, so 3 dragons, 500 treasure. That's all we have here. All right, so that does it for the Dreamweaver's world. So we just now need to go visit the balloonist and get out of here. We can go to the final world. Actually, and I'm going the wrong way for that. Oh no, I was going the right way because you can't actually get out. You can't actually get out going that way, it's death. Whoops. Let's just go this way. Okay. Just run past these guys. So we go around here, past the boss level. All right, and here's the balloonist. All right, so let's go to Nasty's world. So I'm going to free the first dragon, but I'm not going to save like I normally do. I'm going to just finish up the video, and then I'll save right afterward just to make sure that I don't have to do this again, because I would really not like to do it again. Delbin, that should be familiar.
Hey, didn't I already free you?
You're in Nasty's world now, Spyro, and you are the dragon who must defeat him.
Bring him on! I'm ready!
Reach the exit in each of Nasty's lands. Then you can challenge the Nork himself.
Yep, so this is Nasty's world. So kind of a weird thing if, I don't know if it's going to do it or not, but Spyro, for whatever reason, when he stands on this platform, it looks like he's going to fall off an edge, like he does the same animation that he does when he's going to fall off of an edge. So I don't know why that particular dragon in that platform does that, but anyway, so... Well, anybody, thanks everybody for watching, and that was the Dreamweaver's world, again, for me, but first time for you, so... anyway, we will catch you again next time, and we're going to finish up the game with Nasty's world. So catch you all later. Thanks for watching.